Okay, so I'm going through this paper and I want to explain something because a lot of times these scientists write things really in a really complicated way. Okay, so like for example, at least to me, right? Somebody else might understand it immediately, but this paper is talking about indefinite causal order, and it's crazy. Basically, what that means is that normally we experience things like if I throw a ball to somebody and somebody else catches it. Well, I threw the ball and then the other person caught it. So one thing happened first, the other thing happened after. And you can also say that, well, that person caught it and then I threw it, right? That just doesn't make sense. But in the quantum world, what they're finding is that you can have situations like that where one event A happens before event B, while also event B happens before A. Kind of like two timelines. Okay, so now that's in the quantum world. So, right, in the classical limit, and what that means is, we as humans and our perceptions are very big compared to quantum objects. So we live in the classical limit. And it turns out that even though that this timeline kind of phenomena can work at a quantum level, what they show is that in the classical limit, causal order always arises. Okay, which that's what we experience, so that makes sense, right? In our experience, we don't see somebody throwing a ball and then somebody else catching it while also somebody caught it, before the ball was ever thrown. Okay, so now to communicate this concept, they set up a game between Alice and Bob. Okay, so now I got really confused when they explained this game, so I had to go through it, and I feel like I can explain it at least for myself in a little bit of a better way now. So I'll do that now. So okay, so essentially what happens is you start the game with two players, Alice and Bob. Now, the thing is, they're not on different teams. They're not playing against each other. Okay, so here's Alice, and here's Bob. Okay, Alice, Bob. Okay, now Alice and Bob are separated, so they can't communicate with each other at all, except for a little flying messenger box. Okay, we'll just give this guy some wings over here. Now, this is our quantum system, but we're not going to talk about it like that. We'll just talk about it like a little flying magical messenger box. And this messenger box can, every round that they play, it can go to each person once, but it's got to start at one person and then go to the next person. And the whole objective of this game is to maximize correct guesses of the information the other person has. Okay. So at the beginning of each round, we designate for the whole game, we'll designate a random person, either Alice or Bob, to be the one who decides who guesses. Because every round, only one of them are going to guess. They're going to be the guesser for that round. Okay, and who that is in any given round is random. Okay, so let's say we assign Bob to be the guesser determiner. And every round, Bob flips a coin that says, oh, okay, well, this round Bob's going to be the guesser, or this round Alice is going to be the guesser. Okay, so now here's what happens. The round begins, Bob flips a coin, and we'll just take one round as an example round here. Let's say Bob flips a coin, and it's determined that Bob is the guesser this round. Okay, so now let's say now each player rolls, or flips a coin, and instead of heads or tails, just say that the coin is a 0 or 1, okay? And let's say for this round, Alice flips a 0 and Bob flips a 1, okay? So they've got their random coin flip values. And remember, their objective is for whoever the guesser is to guess what the other person has. If you guess correctly, you get 1 point. If you guess incorrectly, you get 0 points. Okay, so everything's set up. Now the little messenger bot or flying box, whatever, comes through. And we don't know if they're going to go to Alice first and then Bob, or Bob first and then Alice. Okay, but we do know that Bob is the guesser this round. Let's say this guy this round goes to Alice first and then to Bob. Well, since he's going to Alice first this round, Alice can put inside the messenger that she guessed 0. And then the messenger goes to Bob, and Bob knows that Alice guessed 0. So Alice says, Bob doesn't have to guess. Okay, he knows. So he says, oh, Alice guessed 0. And this round, they get 1 point. They're always going to get 1 point if the messenger goes in, like if the messenger goes to the person who's not the guesser first, they're always going to get 1 point. It's obvious because you can deliver the information and there is no guess. It's just you know the information. Okay. Now, but consider a different round. Let's say this is round 1, round 2. And now this time, let's say they flip the same, just by chance, they have the same coin flip values. But this time, the messenger goes to Bob first. And let's just say hypothetically, Bob also, again, random coin flip found that he's the guesser again. Okay, and the messenger goes to Bob first and then to Alice. Now, Bob's in a bad situation here because he doesn't know what Alice's bid is because the messenger went to him first and then Alice. Now, it doesn't help if he can send his information over to Alice because she's not the guesser. So the messenger is useless in this round. So Bob just has to guess whether Alice has 0 or 1, right? So, and everybody knows if you're guessing a coin flip, the best you can do is 50-50, right? So for that round, let's say Bob guesses wrong, he gets 0 points. Now, if you repeat these random processes over and over and over and over again, it's going to be a coin flip as to whether the messenger goes to Bob or Alice first, whether the messenger goes to the non-guesser first, right? So let's write our equation for the probability of this whole game. So the probability of success equals, so we have 1/2, okay, because that is saying it's 1/2 of two things. 1/2 of the person guesses randomly because the messenger went to the wrong person first, and 1/2 of the person always gets it correct half the time because the messenger went to the correct person first. Okay, so the way we're going to write that is 1/2. This is the times when the messenger went to the wrong person first and their guess is just a coin flip, 50-50, right? So about half the time they're going to get it right, half the time they're going to get it wrong. And then also 1, which represents 100%. This is 50% odds, this is 100% odds. 1 is the situation where the messenger goes to the non-guesser first, so they're always going to guess that right. Okay, so, and this represents the maximum, right? Because they can just have a streak of bad guesses or whatever, but this is if you run it 1,000,000 trillion times, you're going to get the maximum, that the maximum probable success is 1/2, and then inside here just becomes 3/2, right? And then you can multiply that out and you see that your maximum success probability is 3/4, or 75% success rate. And this is the classical limit of your, your probability of success for this type of game. And that's what they describe here, but their notation is a bit more complicated. If somebody who's not used to reading this sort of stuff reads this, 1/2, then you have this and the B prime. B prime is, represents who's the guesser, right? B prime equals 0, B prime equals 1, X equals B, Y equals A, that's Bob, that's Alice. It's just the probability of this, probability of that. It's complicated, but this is all that is, okay? That's all this means. Okay. And then here they say that the probability of success has to be maximum 3/4 or 75%. Now the freaking crazy part of this, okay, is that they show that in a quantum level, okay, they can put these timelines where the messenger goes to the wrong person first or the messenger goes to the right person first. They can put this messenger in a superposition of timelines, of causality, right? So they can make it so that both the messenger goes to Bob and then Alice, and this is just for one round now. The messenger goes to Bob and then Alice, while also the messenger goes from Alice to Bob. This messenger is a superposition of timelines, essentially. And they found, and this is written here, that this assumption of, if you drop this assumption of a definite order, it's possible to devise a resource and strategy that enables a probability of success of this number, which is greater than 75%. So we'll call this the probability of success of classical. So we'll just say classical or classic, right? Now the probability of success, we'll just do ICO, indefinite causal order, right? Superposition of timelines or whatever. That they found equals 2 plus square root of 2 over 4. Rather than 3 over 4, it's this number, which is bigger than 3. I think it's, something like 3.4? I don't know, it could be 3.1 or 3.4. So I think it's 3.4. Let's just say 3.4. 3.4 over 4, which is greater than 75%. Now, you might look at this and be like, oh, well, 3.4 is not that much bigger than 3 over 4, but who cares? This is showing that you can set up timelines. Okay, I shouldn't be saying that. Okay, because I don't know, we start saying timelines and people start thinking time travel and stuff, whatever. You can set up a superposition of causal order, right? Let's say it the fancy way. It's freaking timelines, whatever. And you can beat the game. You can beat the freaking game, right? If you're a casino and you set up a superposition of causal orders, or you're a player in the casino, you're beating the odds, man. It's insane. And this paper shows how this works. And it gets very mathy, but I think it's important to talk about how when you see an equation like this, you might not know what the heck it's saying, right? You might be like P of X equals B, and then you have this, what is this called? The up slash thing, divider thing. And this is a conditional, like X equals B on the condition that B prime equals 0. And you can parse this out. You Google what this symbol means in a mathematical equation. The P before the parentheses means the probability of this whole situation happening. And if you take it that this whole situation is like the one we talked about, where the the messenger goes to the wrong person first, then this just turns into 1/2. Or if it's the other way around, it turns into 1, and then this turns into whatever this is not. So if this is 1/2, this is 1. If this is 1, then this is 1/2. Because, in this classical situation, you can't have the messenger be both places at once, right? So I think it's good to break down, especially in the very beginning of a paper, to break down these equations and fully internalize it, fully understand it, because that sets you up for being able to understand the rest of the paper. So I hope this was helpful in both explaining indefinite causal order just a little bit, while also giving a little bit of help in terms of reading papers and understanding things. All right. Thanks.